Hey everybody, welcome to Hit Rewind. I'm Michael and Jacob's on the other side.
Hello, everybody. Enjoying summer so far? I'm
No,
not.
no, fuck no. So if you are a regular listener to the show, our pattern has been for the last, 4 years, we've been going from 1980 on up, and we stopped at 1999. There was a break last year, I think, for like 5 episodes. We did 60s movies. But this year, we did a little bit of 1999. We finished that off, but we're mostly doing 60s and 70s. What is the first movie we're going to discuss? Oh, by the way, these are not really going to be in order. It's just as I know that they're worth watching, and I send them to Jacob because I'm super busy.
No, absolutely. This one definitely caught me by surprise. I was able to see it on YouTube. It stars George Kennedy and Jim Brown. Tick, tick, tick.
Yeah, you can get it from Warner Archive, and it's available to buy digitally on Amazon, but we couldn't share it that way because he doesn't have an Amazon account. So someone did load it up to YouTube, watch it before. Warner Archive says no. This is not an action movie. I don't want to sell it as one, but the storyline feels kind of like Walking Tall, like that kind of vibe. Basically, it is, of course, I think it's from 1969 or 70, and it is a small town, and it's been run by the white people, even though there's way more black people. But finally, like all their fucking election, tinkering, I guess if you want to call it, meddling, they're no longer able to keep a black man out of office, and it's Jim Brown, and he takes over the job from George Kennedy, and the tensions that arise in town, just the fact that white people are now answering to a black man with power, and the corruption, and people from other counties thinking they can do whatever they want. I think it's a really, really good character piece, and Jim Brown's good in it, but George Kennedy really, like, his role is so meaty. The guy who has to swallow his pride and embarrassment by the townsfolk that he lost to a black man and stand by his side and help protect him.
Absolutely, yeah. And you see, like, just how cruel, like, the people will be to the point where he kind of loses it. I mean, there's always this, like, drive-by person yelling at him, calling him a chicken.
Yeah.
Along that line. Then he finally catches him, and he's only like a little teen. He's like a teenager. And freaking gives him a lesson right then and there. Or when he has to put up with all these kids making on the school bus, making fun of his kids.
Right.
And, of course, that also gives the lesson that, that children are often the most cruel.
Yeah, and also on Jim Brown's side, he has to deal with the fact that George Kennedy's sheriffs, they don't want anything to do with him. One, in fact, is constantly baiting him because he wants to, shoot him. These guys just don't treat him with any respect, and they won't work for him. So he only can hire like one guy that'll help him out. And I don't know. I just thought it was a really interesting piece. I think it goes really well with In the Heat of the Night, if you've ever seen that with Sidney Poitier. Um, and I think the whole turning point in it is when the little girl gets killed, spoilers, by a rich boy drunk kid, and his father like is from the next county over, and he lets his son do whatever he wants. He's like, "You're not gonna arrest him." He murdered a child, you stupid fuck. Yeah, but I'm not gonna let him be arrested by a black man, and he's gonna go get his own like lynch mob to stop all of this. And it's up to the people in the town to put aside their prejudices, at least for one night, and understand what is right and what's wrong.
Oh, absolutely. Like, you see the conflicts that will pop up. And, yeah, George Kennedy ultimately does decide to help out and become a deputy.
Yeah. He had just, I believe the year before is when he got his Academy Award nomination for Cool Hand Luke. So for a few years here, he's going to get some really meaty roles. Sadly, by the 80s, his career was over with, and he was just doing pure exploitation movies, except for, weirdly, Naked Gun.
You're right. No, honestly, as a kid, that's why I recognize him most from. But some of the movies we'd seen before that you've shown me for the episodes, yeah, no, he definitely had a lot of talent, especially in Cool Hand Luke.
Yeah. What is our next film?
Our next one happens to be almost along the same caliber, does deal with race, with James Garner and Louis Gossett Jr., Skin Game.
Yeah, it was really time for Hollywood to accept the fact that we needed to have discussions about race. And it's been slow burn for a little while. There's like, Guess Who's Coming to Dinner and stuff like that. But with In the Heat of the Night and like Tick, Tick, Tick and all the exploitation films, like you had to, black people were a talent that needed to be reckoned with, like a force to be reckoned with. And Skin Game tackles the subject, the taboo subject of slavery. It steals a little bit from The Good and the Bad and the Ugly. And you remember how Tuco, he was always being like wanted by the law, and Clint Eastwood would bring him in for the bounty, and then he would just break him out. It's kind of that concept if you think about it, but it's a different vibe. It's a little lighthearted in comparison to the Good, the Bad, and the Ugly.
Oh, absolutely. I felt this was definitely more of a dramedy than I would find it like, intense action or anything.
Yeah, it's a lot of it is the chemistry. James Garner and Lou Gossett Jr., which this is really, really early for Lou Gossett Jr., have chemistry off the fucking charts.
Absolutely. No, they were great to watch each other. And then, of course, as the movie plot comes along, there comes a third person joining their little scam.
Yeah.
Who happens to be a con artist and thief herself.
Yeah, it's if you liked Maverick, either the original series or the '94 movie, they go so well together.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, from beginning to end, like you couldn't help but just see them bounce off each other, trying to play each other.
Yeah, and it gets more complicated when they're found out, and Lou Gossett Jr. is really taken in by, there's no chance for him escaping. And Ed Asner's like this terrible prison, like what do you call it, like slave prison guard? I don't remember the term for it.
Yeah, he pretty much was. Yeah, he pretty much auctioned them off. He owned them and sold them.
And then he finds someone he develops a love for, and they want to run away together. It's romantic, it's funny, it's got serious conversations that need to be had about our history with slavery. And it wasn't a huge hit, but it was successful enough that it got a pilot movie. They were going to try to turn this into a TV series. For life of me, I cannot remember the name because they changed it. But it's Lou Gossett Jr. comes back, and then it's Larry Hagman from Dallas, and I Dream of Jeannie takes over the James Garner role.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's another one of those. It's available through Warner Archive if you want to look it up. Lots of fun, though, and it's really interesting, like, what they were trying to do.
I feel like my dad has to watch that sometime as he was flipping through the channels. Huh.
Oh, I imagine, yeah.
It was one of those. Familiar.
Yeah, one of those where it could. It's basically the same exact plot, but just kind of a different angle. Like there's no real wrapping it up because they wanted to turn it into a TV series, and it's on a much lower budget. Instead of being like a $5 million movie, it's like a $1 million TV movie.
Right. Still, I'm gonna have to look at it myself now. I'm curious.
Also, this would go really well with Diggstown, another Lou Gossett Jr. con artist movie.
Right.
What is the next film?
Next one definitely puts us into a bit of a different genre. Of course, stars Clint Eastwood, who was, big Western hero. Kelly's Heroes.
Yeah, this played all the time when I was a kid, and my dad watched it over and over and over. But it's funny how I don't think I'd seen it in 30 years, and I forgot a lot of it. But I remember, and I don't know if you remember me telling me this, when I first met you, I said, holy shit, you remind me of Donald Sutherland in Kelly's Heroes. Do you remember this?
Oddball.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
I mean, you didn't talk like him or anything like that, but you had that hair, your hair was longer, and it was kind of parted like that, and you had the beard, and I was like, holy shit, 1971, Donald Sutherland, right there.
Hey, Donald Sutherland was, I think, the biggest charm and magnetic part of that movie for me, honestly.
Yeah.
especially in one particular scene where, their tank's kind of broken down, so they can't really continue with their part of the plan. So he's just pretty much chilling in this really chill, stoner-esque mood where he's like, yeah, man, I'm not a mechanic. I can't get to work on it. I'm just going to have some cheese and wine.
His performance is zoomed in from another planet, and it's kind of a counterculture World War II movie in kind of like the way Dirty Dozen was, where the heroes aren't exactly heroes, and they're after a bunch of Nazi loot, And the fact that they have him as kind of a hippie guy, 25 years earlier before hippies really existed, um, is kind of like a poke at the Vietnam era, and also like, just say, let's do something opposite of every noble World War II movie we've had to sit through for the last couple decades.
Right. Oh man. Yeah, he definitely. Yeah, he was definitely doing his own thing. He was reliable. He got shit done.
Yeah.
But he was.
Well, and they cast a lot of funny guys in this. Clint Eastwood is the straight man. Telly Savalas can be 50-50. He can be serious, but he can also be kind of funny. But you have like Gavin McLeod from Love Boat and Mary Tyler Moore in it. There's
Don Rickles.
Don Rickles, thank you, who gives a really interesting performance. Carol O'Connor from All in the Family. By casting those people, it gave it an offbeat kind of feel, and it really stood out amongst a lot of those war movies at the time.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And them just going after like gold and just secure it for themselves. Hey, I don't blame them. All right, you do you. It almost reminded me somewhat of Monuments Men.
Yeah. Okay, I get that. Yeah.
Yeah, but I will say, again, some of the best performances were definitely like Don Rickles did take me by surprise. Had pulling back his comedy.
Yeah.
But I loved his sarcasm.
He has a lot of nervous energy.
Oh, absolutely. And then of course you've got. Oh my gosh, you just said his name too. He was from Dirty Dozen.
Telly Savalas?
That, yeah. Honestly, yeah, I liked it. Honestly, it was him in a different life because, oh my god, like at the end of Dirty Dozen, I wanted to beat the shit out of him.
Well, it's so funny, and this is a period of time where Telly Savalas was kind of hot after Dirty Dozen, and Clint Eastwood hadn't become an A-lister just yet. He's about to do it. With Dirty, I think it's Dirty Harry comes out a year later and makes him, a huge, huge star. He was kind of fumbling around at this time, trying to figure out what works for him. And the fact that this movie has him and Telly Savalas on the same exact level is an unusual moment.
Right. Oh my god. Yeah, I did not know. I did not realize that about him. I mean, thinking growing up, always thought he thought he had like a very stellar career ever since like Good, Bad, and the Ugly. Fistful of Dollars and all that.
Yeah, well,
westerns.
Those didn't do as big as people think they did. It's one of those where it did very well in theaters because they were so low budget. Like if you bring in $5 million off a $350,000 investment, you're good. It's because of all the TV play and all the legendary talk about and how it changed the medium worldwide. But then after that, he had Coogan's Bluff, which tanked. Eagles Dare did okay, but that's more of a Richard Burton movie. And then he did Paint Your Wagon, which was a very expensive flop where I don't understand why the director thought, hey, Lee Marvin and Clint Eastwood, they're great singers. No, they're fucking not. Yeah, so I think that's about it. So he hadn't got there just yet. He's just a couple years or so off of being like A-list.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, this whole time I thought he was always in demand.
Go ahead.
No. I was just saying.
Okay.
Continue. Trudge along.
All right. Next film.
Okay. This one, of course, almost on the same level as like Dirty Dozen and what we just discussed, Kelly's Heroes. Devil's Brigade.
Yeah, completely and utterly forgotten. Came out a month after Dirty Dozen, and just nowhere nearly as successful. I mean, $8 million is nothing to sneeze at in 1969, but when you're comparing it to what Dirty Dozen made, like, I think $70 million, and everybody talks about that. Nobody remembers the Devil's Brigade. Is it as good as Dirty Dozen? No. I mean, that is absolutely legendary. Every character in there is really well written. They stand out like a sore thumb. Like you remember them, and the whole pacing is just incredible, and the final action sequence is top notch. Now, will I give it this interesting concept in the fact that it's a true story about the Canadian infantry that teamed up with a bunch of kind of misfits, like almost like a Suicide Squad kind of group.
Of U.S. forces.
Of U.S. forces, yeah, and in the fact that they just kind of rubbed each other raw because their styles are completely different, and they're going to go on this insane mission going up a fucking mountain. to get behind Nazi lines or whatever, and sneak up on them and take them out, and so that the Americans can have an advantage.
Exactly, yeah. And they do eventually get to bond with each other and communicate, especially with that one scene in the bar where they're fighting up all those lumberjacks, just because those lumberjacks are, getting pissed off because, they're stealing our women, yada, yada, yada.
Yeah, it's
and even try to make polite and try to make nice, and even Canadian lumberjacks can be assholes. Yeah, no, there was no going about it. Time to fight.
The headliner here is William Holden, just about to have his big comeback with The Wild Bunch. Cliff Robertson coming off of Charlie, which is, Flowers for Algernon. Most people probably know him as Peter Parker's uncle in the first
2001 Spider-Man?
2000, yeah. The one with Tobey Maguire. But for a while there, he was kind of in-demand actor. The one that throws me off here is Vince Edwards, who's the other lead. I think he was just on a TV show called like Marcus Welby or something like that for a few years. His career went nowhere, and I thought he was pretty enjoyable. He's the kind of the beefier guy that you wouldn't recognize.
Oh, yeah, the one who played Rocky, right? That's the character's name?
No, that's Claude Akins. Now, Claude Akins, I think, is the heart and soul of this movie. He's like fifth build, and he's just a big, blocky, like jock kind of guy. And he, at first, is such an adversary to the Canadians. And by the end of the movie, when he is crying and desperately trying to get the Scottish guy to get back up and fight just to survive this battle, and it just goes wrong, and my heart goes out to that. That was a hell of a performance.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it's the final sequence is a shocker too. What happens at the very end? I mean, like, you're talking with 2 minutes left to go. I was fucking stunned.
Like, oh yeah, no, oh God.
Yeah, and this is right now, spoilers. I never in a million years, as the Nazis are giving up, you do not think that one of them's going to pull a gun and kill one of the main characters. I never thought it was going to happen.
Oh my God, I know. Again, it just want to show mortality that any of these characters could have been killed.
Yeah. It's a very well made movie. It doesn't have the same energy, like I said, as Dirty Dozen, but it is a very worthy film.
Yeah, it deserves better. I mean, of course, maybe if they were released differently, might have had a chance.
Yeah, I was gonna say releasing it once they saw that Dirty Dozen was making so much money, they should have held off maybe just a few months. If you're going to put two movies that are so similar together, it rarely ever works. What, Deep Impact and Asteroid, I think, is the only time it's ever been successful.
Yeah. Oh man, yeah. They definitely felt a little bit like definitely different movies, but still, even then.
Yeah. What is our final film? Is that our final? Did I count it right?
Yeah, we're at number 5. We were Tick, 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 Kelly's Heroes, Devil's Brigade, Skin Game, and now on to this one. Definitely a little bit of a twist.
Haha. I like that. I've never seen this. This is one of my mom's favorites, and I think it's one of the very first movies she ever saw in theaters, and she knew the soundtrack like the back of her hand, and slowly realizing that, oh my God, we had this record in our house. That's why I know the song so well, even though she'd only ever seen it like 3 or 4 times. And I'm telling you right now, I was absolutely enthralled. Incredible music. I didn't realize I knew so many of the songs. The performances, holy shit. Look, Oliver Reed was kind of the name at the time, but I would just like, he's great. But what's the guy's name? Fagan. He's from the 12 Chairs. Ron Moody.
Yes.
Holy shit, that's a performance you're never going to forget.
Oh, absolutely. And of course, this was based off a Roald Dahl story, right?
Well, no, Charles Dickens.
Charles Dickens, that's right.
Yeah.
Oh my, I get them both a little confused.
Yeah. Well, I was looking up yesterday the most successful writers of all time, or not most successful, the most beloved. I don't know what you call it, like the highest rated by readers, and Charles Dickens and Roald Dahl were really close on that list.
Mm-hmm. Honestly, it makes a whole lot of sense. Well, of course, Charles Dickens definitely like to discuss, children growing up on a poverty side, and then of course, not only Roald Dahl doing that, but also not only discussing some of poverty, but also, the abuse of like a foster system.
Yeah, Well, and I'm watching his one of his other adaptations is Nicholas Nickleby, and again, it's just like really entrenched in the corruption of uh, orphanages. And I mean, this must have been something so common and well known and just despised by British children that it just locked into their brains forever. So much of this era is about that kind of poverty.
Oh, absolutely, yes. During that particular, what was it, like the late 1800s, like past the industrial age?
Yeah, it's like
Yeah,
yeah,
that's
yeah. But pre like World War One, and it's funny is looking at the set. I mean, they really built this set. It was damn, it's the one that they always do the James Bonds at. So
Pinewood Studios.
thank you, Pinewood, and Shepperton Studios as well, which is near it. But I'm pretty sure, and I looked it up. There's a lot of movies that were shot there, of course, and I am almost certain this is the same set piece that they would use years later, for was it 1973's Scrooge with Albert Finney and Muppet Christmas Carol.
Yes. Oh my God. Pinewood Studios was home to a lot of movies. Heck, Tim Burton's Batman, Fifth Element. They filmed some stuff there, and of course James Bond.
Yeah, but this one particular set, I don't know if they can break it down or they just leave it, but I've seen that in so many movies and just the fact that it felt so lived in and there were so many layers to it that you could go in and out of these buildings and then out to the street, the camera work on it made me believe it was all real.
No, absolutely. Again, when you get master craftsmen, carpenters working on stuff like that, and really make it so immersive. Yeah, it's it's honestly it just makes you enjoy the movie even more so.
Yeah, I wasn't sure. I couldn't remember if you liked musicals. So as I think that we had done one or two before and I was like, okay, Oliver, and I was like, wait, will he like this? I have no idea. I'm a big musical guy, so.
No, I definitely enjoy myself some musicals too. I do.
Yeah. Well, no, actually, we have discussed more because I remember we did the Rocky Horror Picture Show and Shock Treatment. We've done the producers, both versions.
Yes. Did we also discuss Hairspray?
Hairspray and how to what is it? How to get ahead in business without really trying. Yeah, so we've discussed it.
Yes, that one too. That's
Fiddler,
what it's called.
Fiddler's coming up. I'm watching it right now, and I have only ever seen it on stage. I've never actually seen the movie, so I'm having a lot of fun.
Oh, with Total, right?
Yes. So that's about it. What was your favorite of the bunch?
Oh, that was pretty. It was pretty tough. I like the one. I think if it's actually me to have to pick one, but I would have to give it to Skin Game. I really enjoyed James Garner and Louis Gossett Jr.
Yeah.
And for me, it ended on a happier note. Like all the characters went their separate ways. Sorry, spoilers.
Yeah.
But but it still had its charm and its little comedic moments.
Well, yeah, and it's like they're just going to go off to the next con. Lou Gossett Jr. and he gets married and goes on to his world. But James Garner, and I cannot remember her name. She was the mom on Webster. Susan something, I think. But they that they have more adventures coming. So if it was a huge hit, they would just go on to another con. That is a tough one. I think I might go Oliver because I was just so incredibly enthralled. But will I go back to it again as soon? I've seen Skin Game maybe 5 times. That's the one I've seen the most. It's really hard. It was a really good episode. I think the only one that might be a little bit of a bog is Devil's Brigade because it is so long.
Yeah, that's the thing too that threw me off. Susan Clark, that was her name.
Thank you. So that is it for this episode. Everybody, thank you very much. Jacob, thank you.
All right, everybody, have a good night. Stay cool. Be excellent to each other.
I got nothing. I don't know what to say during this. Stay groovy, kids.